what you're thinking. This is a car series and I'm on a bike. But I just passed my bike test, you see, and I was invited to come here to London to National Ride to Work Day, here in the heart of the city. So don't go making a cup of tea. For all you four-wheel fanatics, there's a lot to be gained for having two wheels, you know. I've grabbed Grant from the new magazine Two Wheels Only, which is a new magazine aimed at biking right across the board. Grant, tell me a bit about this magazine.
Well, it's a brand new magazine. That's the second issue. We've just brought it out. We're trying to cover every kind of biking, from scooters right through to Harleys, sports tourers, sports bikes, particularly with an angle on people who may not have been biking for too long or are trying to get into biking. So there's a lot in there about how to start, sensible tips about what to wear, but also it's a way to bring people into the whole sport.
So obviously I'm more into car driving and I passed my bike test a short while ago, so this magazine would have been quite good for me to read beforehand.
Would have been perfect if it told you exactly how to go about, you know, taking your test and giving you tips on what kind of bike to buy. But yeah, more than that, well, it's a bit of kind of a men's lifestyle magazine as well, kind of wrapped up in a bike mag.
Right.
But I don't know whether, as a lady, you would appreciate that. But
I don't know, I think I could.
Well, it's full of humour, and you're a very humorous girl.
Yeah. So. What bike did you come up on today?
This thing. This is a BMW C1, which is BMW's attempt to make motorcycling safe, trying to cross a kind of motorcycle with a car, hence the roof, which it has a complete roll cage, so in theory you can turn the thing on its head and as you can in a car and not hurt yourself.
Do they do that in tests then? Kind of roll
They must
around?
do, yeah. I mean, in Europe they don't have to wear helmets. They've proved that it is so safe. So.
But here, you do have to wear helmets.
Unfortunately, in the UK, yeah, we're not following the Germanic principles of well, non-safety actually over there. But as I say, they've proved that it is safe enough that you don't need a crash helmet because I think of this kind of heavy roll cage. You do have to wear seat belts, which, you know, is kind of getting away from the freedom and easiness of riding bikes. So.
But it's literally a cross between a car and a bike, isn't it?
Well, it's still got two wheels. It's got two wheels, but it's kind of like a 2CV cut in half.
What would you prefer to be on it? A car, a bike, or this?
It depends where I'm going and what I'm doing. If I'm trying to cut through traffic like we have done today, that every time. But, you know, I do like my cars as well, a bit of air conditioning, you know, that I can control. Like these that you can't control it.
Cars are good in the bad weather as well, aren't they?
They're fantastic in the bad weather. They can be good in the good weather as well with the top down, but, you know, I like both, cars and bikes. I enjoy them all.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I've caught up with Eric, who's best remembered from the TV series The Bill. Eric, how long have you been riding bikes for?
Over 40 years now.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know, it's longer, I know, longer than you've been around, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've only been riding for a very short while, so I'll have a chat with you later and you can give me some tips probably.
Right, right.
So what would you say is the advantage to riding bikes? I mean, obviously the time difference.
Well, that is the most obvious thing. I mean, I've come up to town today from deep in South London. I haven't had to do that for a long time, be a real person, and come up in the rush hour. But, I mean, it's extraordinary. I was up here in 30 minutes, you know, and it must be a good, I don't know, 10, 12 miles. And I'm amazed the amount of bikes that are on the road now in the mornings. People are deciding that this is the way to get to work. And obviously today is particularly good. But even if it's raining, you know, you put on a wetsuit or whatever, and you're still going to get there quicker. You're still going to get there feeling a bit brighter as well. And certainly you're going to get there feeling less aggressive.
Do you think?
Oh, yeah, come on. I mean, you're sat in a car and you're on the M40 or whatever, and you're looking at the clock and the radio, and the tension's up and the bloke in front of you breaks down and you want to jump out and murder him, and you don't get a lot of that on the bike.
So you feel quite strongly about it, don't you, really?
Oh, passionately, yeah. I mean, obviously I'm a family man, I've got a couple of young kids, we've got the Volvo estate so that we can go camping, I've got an old 500 SE Mercedes because I like having a motor car to have fun with. But the garage is genuinely just full of motorbikes because that's what I
Really?
do. This week I've ridden 4 different motorbikes from 1950 up to 1998 in terms
So
of
what
age.
else have you got in there then?
Oh, a very early Triumph, a very early Gilera, early MV Agusta, this one, I've got a Bimota, I've got a Ducati. I mean, you
Really?
can hear I like motorbikes.
Yeah.
The downside is that if you're a face in television, everyone says to you, where's your Harley Davidson? And the
That's-
one thing
yes.
I've never owned is a Harley Davidson.
Any particular reason?
No, they're great fun. It's just not quite my bike.
Yeah. It's interesting to say that you mentioned one of the cars that you've got and said, I still like to have fun in the car.
Yeah.
So it's not just that bikes are fun and cars are really
Oh no, you
boring.
can, I mean there are 1 or 2 motorcyclists who get stuck into that. I mean, like all people do, you know, this is the only way to spend your life. That's a nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
How do you put a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old onto a solo motorcycle with your wife? You don't do it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
So if you're going to
sidecars.
have 4 wheels, have a bit of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
up until March, I was running a 2+2 Ferrari, you know, so the kids could go in the back, but it got a bit squashed. So now we look to do something else. So you can have fun with everything,
Yeah.
but nothing quite like a solo motorcycle because of the freedom of it. And as a new person to it, I'm sure you're already finding that, aren't you?
Well, I drove up today, I said from Portsmouth,
Hey!
and it was my first time in London, so I was incredibly nervous, and I stopped at a petrol station before I got into London. It's like, okay, I can do this,
Yeah.
and it was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't have any trouble at all.
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
Well, I think also, and you are the example, what the motorist who hasn't come into biking yet doesn't understand is that the training now is extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
just can't throw your leg over a motorbike and think, oh, well, that's it, I'll go off to London.
Yeah.
You've got to be trained so thoroughly, way ahead of any other road user.
I must say, I hadn't been on a bike at all ever,
No.
and I did a 5-day course, and the way they teach you, it's not like sometimes you learn things, you think, I don't need that in the real world, but
That's
all the
right.
lifesaver checks and everything, they're just
Absolutely.
invaluable, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Well, we've heard from Eric here, who says that cars are great and bikes are perhaps better.
It's good to see everybody here today. We've at least had the weather for it, and I would like to thank you all for turning out and making it a very successful time. 3rd year of Ride to Work Day, and each year it just gets better and better. We know there's quite a lot of different events going on all over the country today. Basically, big dealerships are putting on bikers' breakfasts. Quite a few companies are encouraging their people to ride to work by bike. The message is getting out there that bikes are the alternative form of transport that really makes sense.
Now all the bikes have gone home, I've managed to catch up with Steve, who's the organiser of the London Ride to Work Day. Steve, what's the day been about then?
It's been about getting the riders in London to come in and see us here at Marble Arch, sign a petition so that London bikers can get a better deal, and have a sort of show of solidarity for two-wheel riders in London.
And how's the day gone, do you think?
Really successful. We've had over 150 bikers come through, signing our petition against saying no to tolls for bikers in London and trying to get more parking here.
Yeah.
And also just get a group of people together so the press and media can see what's going on and show that there is a big and large and fairly volatile motorcycle community out there.
Fantastic. Have you got any plans for later on to do the same sort of thing again?
I think this is the 3rd year the event has run, and it's getting stronger and stronger every year. And I think here at Marble Arch you've found a great place to be and to base the event for the next few years. So next year I think we'll be bigger, much bigger.
Why did you choose Marble Arch? This is actually where we started off the Gumball Rally. So it's
Oh, right, yeah.
It's quite an interesting place because lots of events are held here, have started here.
That's right. Well, it's one of the historic gateways to London.
Yeah.
And it's a great backdrop. It's a great focal point. We've got Park Lane to the south and the Edgware Road to the north. You get so much passing traffic that it's just a perfect location for us. And next year I'd hope that we'd look out here and see a sea of bikes,
Oh,
maybe
great,
1,000
wouldn't
bikers here.
There are actually a few cars here, so it wasn't just bikers, was it? People that are interested in biking that actually didn't bring their bikes as well.
That's right, and I think that a lot of the questions that we've been asked this year is how do motorists, car drivers deal with bikers, and I think that really that we're all competing for the same space. If we can get more onto bikes, make better use of the available road network,
Yeah.
everyone is going to be much happier.
It's quite interesting actually because I think they've put in some questions into the car test, haven't they, that relate to bikes. I think that helps people because I know now I've passed my test, I'm more aware of bikes on the road, and I think that's made me generally a safer driver all round, because I'm observing all the time, you know, making sure I'm not going to cut a bike up.
I think that there still is, you know, I think there may be a little bit of them and us out there, and I think that's really born through education of drivers. They've just got to look again to try and look out for those bikes and make it safer for guys on two wheels.
So this is where you heard it first, and we'll see you here next year. Come on then, Eric, I'm going to take you off on that ride you offered.